Hey there, thanks so much for clicking on our video. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Ashley, and we are the hosts of Bible and Banter.
Bible and Banter is a space for real conversations through the lens of faith.
We hope to be a reminder that we serve a good God
who left us a living word
to tackle all that life throws our way.
Hey, so let's get into the video.
So today's video is going to be talking about breaking up with bad habits.
Bye, bad habits.
Woo. And when we say bad habits, we are not talking necessarily about like, oh, I'm gonna quit smoking or I'm gonna quit blah blah, like not those like type of bad. Although it is a bad habit, you know, but the types of bad habits we're really talking about, just kind of in line with, you guys know that we constantly talk about walking in your purpose and what that looks like and growing in your faith. So we're really talking more so about kind of breaking up with the bad habits that are either stalling your progress as you grow in your faith and just truly like stalling your growth. And then also, you know, bad habits that are really kind of also keeping you off track and distracting you from truly focusing on the vision God has given you, whatever that might be. So to just kind of like kick that off, I think for me, one of my bad habits is my response to stress. I will say, I think yes, it's great for rest, but I think sometimes, for one, I don't know how to catch it before it gets to the point that it truly like throws me. And so a bad habit of mine is truly like trying to treat myself as though I'm invincible, to the point where I take on stress after stress after stress, and I put it to the back and put it to the back, and I don't open up to people about it, right? So that's one of my, is that I keep everything inside. And so that means that it's just building and it's building and it's building, and I just keep on like, oh, I'm great. Like even when I'm at my most stressful time, most times people wouldn't even know because I don't open up about it. I'll listen to them and try to encourage them, and meanwhile, like I've drained myself dry. Right. So that's one of my, to the point where it'll get me to the point where I no longer respond well, because by the time I'm ready to say I'm not okay, I am so far from okay. You know what I mean? That it throws me into, like I talked about, a creative rut. It throws me into the point where I withdraw and I shut down. So what that looks like, I don't really reach out when I should. At that moment, that's really when I need to reach out to somebody to pour into me. I try to fix myself, right? Or I just completely shut down, and now I'm binge watching on Netflix and completely ignoring, I disconnect from even reading my words sometimes when I get to that point, and I basically do everything that I shouldn't do to bring me out of it. So
no, that's good. And it'll be interesting to see how you've been combating that, like what you've been doing to kind of break free from that, because I think more than anything we can all relate to that. I think that we can all sometimes get in our heads about things, and especially if you have a similar personality to Ashley's, where you're like, I'm gonna fix this, don't worry about it, I got me. It's like, well, yes, you may have you, but clearly not all the way, you know what I mean? And just as Christians, we are relational, as human beings, we're relational creatures, but I think coming from a Christian perspective, that's where community is the most important. This is what we're here for. And I don't think that you have to necessarily go and tell it on the mountain, like, hey everyone, I am in a ride. It's like, you don't have to tell everybody, I think I'm depressed. Not everyone needs to know that. But I do think for the people that you do feel, you trust and want to be in close community with, that is the perfect time. And it's when you're in those moments, like Ashley said, where you have gotten to the point where you're like ready to just bump it off, that's whenever you do need to reach out. I think that I can definitely relate to moments like that, because I've had moments where I have just not wanted to, everything in me cringed and thinking like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think less of me, or they're not, they see me in this way, and so if I were to be vulnerable with them and tell them about what I'm struggling with, they may not ever see me the same way again. And what's crazy is it's so much bigger in our heads, but then when you go actually and tell somebody, their reaction is probably, if it's someone who knows, loves, and trusts you, like you, it's never gonna be exactly what you're thinking. Never. So I know for me, as far as bad habits, I have on the opposite end where I overshare. And for me, I would say it's a trauma response because I think that in a way I try to connect with people really quick, really fast. Like I want you to be my friend. I want you to see them a good person. So you see I'm a good person, right? You know, I've done this. And in 4th grade, it's like that person on the other side is like, slow down. I don't know. I just asked you what you wanted for. I just asked you for your order, ma'am.
Right. So did you want me to pick you up something?
It's like, that was my thing. I would be on the total opposite extreme of like, please help me. It's like, whoa, you know, I don't even know you. I just met you last week. So I've learned, for me, now I have to really trust that person and know that, you know, this person knows me and this person is going to be someone who's going to give me good feedback, because in a lot of ways, if someone were to do that to me back during that time and overshare with me, I'm like, wow, they really trust me. They really want to connect with me. And I would be there for them and try to encourage them. But then whenever I would come and give them my stuff, they're like, whoa, you know, okay, that's us. You know? I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't very helpful. And I would feel bad because I'm like, now I feel like I've told this person so much about me and I can't take that back. You can never take that back. And so I think that somewhere in the middle of where me and Ashley are is where you need to be. And you know what that's called? Boundaries. Exactly. Boundaries are so essential. It has been what has helped me with breaking that habit, because it's a bad habit to overshare, but it's also a bad habit to not share at all. I think that you have to have certain levels to your inner self and revealing all of who you are to somebody. And people do need to earn that. You deserve that, because you're worth someone giving you quality advice. You're worth someone, you know, coming to you and being able to speak life into you specifically. And only if they know you will they really be able to do that outside of prophecy, I guess. But I think that, you know, with these habits, it's something you have to be aware of, one, because I was oversharing for a long time before I knew it was called oversharing.
I thought this was just a relationship.
So that's step one, you know, be aware of when people feel uncomfortable around you. Their faces are starting to be like, their eyes starting to widen a little bit. Probably shouldn't have shared that.
They go extremely quiet.
You know, and then you try to talk more. My bad. Oh, okay. They want me to talk more. They're just trying to listen to me. So then in 5th grade, you know, it's just, there has to be a limit.
I can't. I wasn't prepared for this. And you know what? I think just kind of, I think part of like Melissa talked about with the boundaries, I think a lot of it is also recognizing and accepting that everybody isn't everything. And you know what I mean? And so like she said how, you know, she'd have people who would open up to her, and then whenever she opened up to them, it was kind of met with like a different response. And so I think part of me, like you said, how do I remedy the fact that I do tend to keep things to myself? Part what I am still working on, one, I have accepted that maybe the people who have always opened up to me, those aren't the people that I need to open up to, right? Because they're not really going to pour into me the way that I need them to, which is which in the past has been what's made me kind of keep to myself, is because if I had opened up, it wasn't met with the response that I felt like that I needed, right? And so it led me to be like, you know what, let me just keep it to myself, because nothing comes from that when I do. But now I think it's from, you know, God has blessed me with this amazing community. So it's just having to trust God, that God will lead me to the people that that can be that person for me, like my community and the people that I know he will use as a vessel to speak into my situation. And there are a few people that I just haven't leaned on that, right? And so and what that comes down to,
you might have a community, but if you don't use them,
exactly. And it honestly, at the end of the day, I can put so many flowers around it and blah 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 blah, but it's prideful. That's what it is. It's exactly what you said. It's like, you know, people see me as the strong one, that I'm always okay, and I need to uphold that facade, really.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's really also accepting that I finally like broke down and started journaling not too long ago, because I was kind of in one of those. And one of the things that I wrote was, you know, even when you're considered the strong one, like being vulnerable or crying, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Yes. And so it's accepting that, like, I am a human being.
Do you know?
And it should be normal that I have moments like this. And
emotions are normal.
Exactly. And I'm bottling it because I'm treating it like it's not normal. And I really need to normalize, you know, being human and going through things and having and accepting that, no, I can't carry all things and do all things. So
just you recognizing that puts you on a different level. I feel like for me, I'm so glad that we're starting to move into a position where people are becoming more open, not in an oversharing way, but being more open with their vulnerabilities. Because truly, vulnerability, when you think of vulnerable, you always think of weak, but actually it's a strength. Yeah. It takes strength and courage to come to someone and humility. Be like, I need help. Yeah. I need help. And
absolutely.
A normal other human who also has weaknesses will be like, me too. Right. But where can I help you in this? And where can you help me in this? Because that's where we come together and make it beautiful, because where we're the weakest, that's where God is the strongest, but he has also placed people in your life to be able to help you specifically with certain things. But if you don't allow these people in, you'll always be in that same position every single time. So it's so important to, one, realize for yourself, this is where I struggle. This is the area where I need some help. But who do I go for that? I know I can go to so-and-so because she's going to encourage me. She's going to speak life into me, whatever. Like, I think that there's certain people for certain things. Like you said, every single friend is not going to be your best friend, and every single friend is not going to be one that you go to about every little thing that happens. But for the ones that you can get help from, like, go to those.
Absolutely.
If I need a laugh, go to me. If I need something stronger than that, I need to go to a XYZ person. Like, that's the beauty in just growing, evolving as human beings. Like, you will not always be this, and that's the good part and the bad part. It's like in good seasons it sucks because it won't always be good, but that's where God comes in, and just having faith that seasons come and go. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be whatever. Like, it's all working together.
And I would say another bad habit of mine is overthinking.
Ooh, dang, that's mine too. That's everybody.
Listen, I don't know. I feel like to an extent.
You're like, I know it.
To an extent. Like, I tend to overanalyze things, right?
See, overthinking and overanalyzing, are those the same? I feel like
I don't know.
They might be cousins. Like, I feel like they're definitely related, but well, you got both of them.
Well, then I would say then if
maybe
it were,
I don't know. Maybe there's
then overthinking would be the play cousin, and then overanalyzing would really be my blood cousin. That's the first cousin. They're both the evil overanalyze situations, and in every realm. So, and then which then leads to the other bad habit of especially when it comes to like work and creative and all of that, is hiding procrastination behind perfectionism. Like, oh, I'm just a perfectionist, that's why I haven't launched this. I'm just a perfectionist, that's why I'm still working on this one. Really, no, it's procrastination for one, and then it's also fear that it'll be rejected. And learning to really accept the reasons for why I'm not doing something or why I'm not progressing is really something that I need to really seek God about.
Yes.
Because it's actually not just, I just want it to be perfect and I just want to have this standard of excellence, which to an extent, yes, I do like, but there are some times where it's like, no, sis, you haven't done this or done that or launched this or launched that, really because there's a fear that it's not going to be accepted and praised in the way that you're hoping that, or received in the way that you want it to be received.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you're holding on to it for fear of that. So.
Absolutely. Nope, that's it. That's really it. Same thing for me when it comes to overthinking. I think I will think of every single scenario that could happen and then don't do it. So I have analysis paralysis. I'm like, yep, guess I'll just stay here. But no decision is still a decision.
Yeah.
You deciding not to do it has still created a decision, and now there's the consequences that come with that. So it's almost like in this season of life, at this point, I'm like, just throw it out there, because something's gonna stick. If you think of anyone, let's even come from like a business mindset. If you think of people who have started businesses, every single business fails at some point. Yeah. All these think of the coolest and best business in your mind right now. Promise you, they put out 2, 3, 4 different businesses. It was a series of failures. That led to the success. That is what the company you're thinking of. It doesn't just start out like, okay, this is it. Everything evolves and grows, and with each failure, seemingly, it actually is progressing you forward to whatever was supposed to be from the very beginning. So absolutely, that's a good way to kind of block your mind from overthinking. I feel like it's just to be like, all right, I can sit here and think of every single scenario that could go wrong, or think about the ones that could go right. So send the text, do the thing, move not send the text. Call the person, stop leaving it in the little drafts. Really think before you send this. This is how the process goes. Listen to me, sis.
Don't listen to this one. She gonna have you sending dissertations.
Look, what? To your ex. You'll learn. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what life is about, man. I mean, you can sit and just be on the sideline or jump in the game. Come on. Yeah. I'm calling you in. Exactly. Put me in, coach. It just takes that extra mindfulness of knowing that not everyone is going to like you or like what you do, and being okay with that. Where I would mess up and it would become a bad habit is asking too many people their opinion on a thing. I know for me, like a good example would be, I was supposed to be moving out of my apartment. I had been in my apartment for 5 years. It served me, but it does not serve me anymore. And I was ready to move, but I felt like I found an apartment that I really liked, but I asked my mom, my sister, my best friend, whoever, the random man down the street, what do you think of this apartment? Right. And everyone has a different opinion on it, and I wasn't even thinking, well, what do you think of the apartment? Didn't you think you liked the apartment? But by that point, I had already had all their voices in my head about all of these things with the apartment that I ended up just, oh, well, I guess I'm just not gonna move. And now I'm feeling like, dang, I wish I would have. I say that to say that, that's kind of like a mild example of it, but we can really get into everything about when you people please, it becomes harder and harder for you to say no to people. It becomes harder and harder for you to really understand what you actually want out of life, because you're so busy trying to think about what XYZ person might think of it. So that is definitely a bad habit that I am working on breaking, and ways that I kind of go about doing that is just asking myself, what do I want out of this? Right, absolutely. If I do like a thing, specifically saying what I like about it. I like this apartment because it's very spacious. I like this apartment because, saying it, because if you are putting in your mind what your thoughts are about the apartment, when someone else comes in with well, I think it's kind of small. It's like, well, I actually really like the space in here. So it helps to kind of combat that. And then you can go on with feeling, I feel like I want this apartment, so I'm going to get this apartment because I live here, not you. Right. And that's all that matters. And so just constantly reminding myself of that, and just doing the things that I like to do and reminding myself of why I like to do them. It has helped. It helped me a lot with my self-esteem, boosting that, and then learning not to care as much about what people think, because
that's the tough.
Because everyone's gonna have a thought. If you ask somebody what their opinion is, I promise you, on anything, they'll have an opinion.
So I mean, we could sit and go on and on about different habits that we feel like might be slowing our growth, but if we just hope that this makes you stop and think like, dang, you know what? Yes. This really has become more of a bad habit of mine. You know what I mean? And this isn't something that I was even really thinking of. And so how can I combat that? Like, what should I be doing? What should I be going to God about? Like, what is something that I know that He's been calling me to do, but because of this or that, I'm not doing it because I'm allowing myself to be distracted by this habit. Right. Or, you know what I mean? Or I'm putting too much time into this habit, or when I should be doing this, I'm doing this. And now this has become a bad habit because I really should be doing this. you know, whatever it is. And we want to hear about it. Make sure you put it in the comments below. Like, let us know what some of your bad habits, i.e. growth stalling habits that you may have been doing, and that you really like, you know what, I should really stop, put less focus into this and actually start doing this, or I should really stop allowing this thing that I tend to do to hinder me from doing this. We want to hear about it. Join the conversation in the comments below. All of it.
We need all of that. We need the like, we need the comment, and the subscribe.
Listen, we want it all.
All of those things. But yes, thank you so much for watching our video. Be sure to tune in next Sunday, where we will have another real and relevant topic. We are talking about everything. We're talking about friendships, relationships,
to careers and navigating corporate America. We are talking about it all, so you don't want to miss out, because we want you to join the conversation. But in the meantime and in between time, please, please, please remember that Jesus loves you.
We love you.
And you are more than enough.
Bye.